Good evening. I'm Patricia Vallone with a CTV News update. A former University of Maryland employee has been indicted on 2 counts of theft charges. Lisa Schutz of Severn, Maryland, who worked at UMD from 2001 to 2020, is accused of defrauding the university of $1.1 million over a 4-year period.
This is a very serious crime, and I wanted to send a very strong message today that economic crimes are serious. They have serious consequences. Our office takes them seriously, and we will pursue them zealously.
Authorities would not say what led them to Schutz as a suspect. Montgomery County Executive Mark Elrich says although the apartment explosion in Silver Spring last week was not preventable, he is looking at ways to make sure that such incidents don't happen again. As we reported yesterday, a maintenance worker accidentally cut the gas line at the Friendly Garden Apartments last Thursday. Elrich says that the worker was trying to unclog a drain when he cut the gas line by mistake. According to the county executive, the worker then tried to put a cap on the line, but it didn't hold. Elrich says the pipes at the apartment, which he says is older building, were not labeled.
I think the proper labeling of exposed pipes in all commercial apartment buildings, no matter what the age is something we need to look at and regulate. And we're looking to see whether the county has authority to regulate in this domain and whether we're going to have to ask WSSC, which controls both the water and gas side of this, whether they can impose that regulation. But one way or the other, we are going to get regulation on this.
More than a dozen people were injured in the devastating explosion. And in COVID news, the county's COVID-19 emergency declaration is scheduled to expire at 5 o'clock tonight. Officials say the county's positivity rate, while up slightly 3 days in a row, remains below 2%. Also, cases have remained below 100 per day since early February. As for today's numbers, the state health department has confirmed 277 cases statewide. The positivity rate is at 1.54%. 12 Marylanders have died of COVID since yesterday. 284 remain hospitalized. Well, wearing masks in Montgomery County Public Schools is now optional. The Board of Education voted unanimously to lift the COVID mask mandate yesterday. The new MCPS policy gives students the choice to wear masks indoors, outside, and on school buses. Water pollution enforcement has declined over the past 2 decades in Maryland, according to a new report by the Chesapeake Accountability Project. The report measures enforcement actions over the state's last 4 gubernatorial administrations. It says the number of actions bottomed out during the Hogan administration. The report finds that enforcement efforts by the Maryland Department of the Environment have dropped 67% for water pollution compared with the previous 6 years. And prices at the gas pump continue to skyrocket. AAA Mid-Atlantic says the new national average for a gallon of regular gas is about $4.25. In Maryland, the average is more than $4.20. In D.C., it's almost $4.50. Experts say prices will keep rising as the Russia-Ukraine conflict continues. And you are watching CTV News. I'm Patricia Vallone. We'll be back in just a moment.
I don't remember how it started. Our back and forth. Victory. Fumble. Repeat. It always came back.
Okay, here we go, throw it!
Yeah. You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Nice.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew a girl so smart, so responsible, she must be a keeper.
Welcome back. Should Prince George's recreation programs be transferred from the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission to a new recreation authority under the control of the county executive? Lawmakers in Annapolis are looking into that question. The legislation would create a work group to study the matter. Currently, Park and Planning controls youth sports, art, and senior programs, among other things. Delegate Nick Charles supports the legislation, saying Prince George's has one of the best park systems in the country.
Well, when it comes to our recreation, for our senior citizens and for our youth, I think we are missing the mark. So what this does is it allows for us to do a study on the issue, where the shortfalls are, how we are able to create a new system that will truly focus in and be able to provide the opportunities for Prince Georgians. It's already been some pushback. And, you know, I've been able to speak to folks about the pushback. Like, listen, at the end of the day, we have to study this. It's no other way to get through this but studying the problem. If the problem didn't exist, we wouldn't have to study it.
If passed, the bill takes effect in July. The House of Delegates passes legislation to legalize recreational marijuana. The bill would legalize cannabis for personal use and set regulatory and taxation guidelines for commercial sales. It would also establish funds to repair communities negatively impacted by criminalization of the drug and allow those convicted of marijuana possession to have their records expunged. The Senate has taken up the issue with a somewhat different focus. Bills in that chamber are also aimed at making it profitable for the state. The Senate Finance Committee is considering two bills that would allow the state to collect tax from marijuana processors and dispensaries. A trial date is set for challenges to Maryland's legislative district plan. The state court system announced yesterday that the plan will go to trial on March 22nd at 10 a.m. 4 lawsuits have been filed over the map, including 2 from separate groups of Republican delegates. The Court of Appeals Chief Judge consolidated the challenges, which have already led to revised candidate filing deadlines. The bench trial will be broadcast live online at mdcourts.gov. In our third segment with longtime D.C. newscaster Bruce Johnson, our Byron Scott talks with him about his days covering the nation's capital. Johnson tells Scott it's important for journalists to know the neighborhoods that they're covering.
I mean, I planted a flag in Southeast D.C. when I came to Washington because it reminded me a lot of my neighborhood, and it was part of my commitment to get our people who are not in the mainstream and certainly not covered by mainstream media. You know, and I wanted to bring that. You know, we moved in with the family. One of the first big stories I covered, we moved in with a family in Anacostia, called it The Prices of Anacostia, for weeks on end, and had the commitment from the station and just showed you what they were up against every day, you know, trying to get a job, trying not to get arrested. Had to go to court with one of the, the sons. Good man. Ended up, you know, joining the National Guard and stuff. But he would have been doing time if I hadn't personally walked up to the judge and said, look, you know, give us a break. You know what I mean? Right. So, you know, all that kind of stuff, and it's in this book, and that's why I wrote the book, because today's journalists, they don't get a chance to cover this kind of stuff. Number one, they're not prepared. A lot of them don't have the direction once you hit the newsroom in terms of management, whether it be white, black, or whatever. There isn't the diversity in management, certainly not in the upper levels. You know? Right.
Again, the book is called Surviving Deep Waters, a legendary reporter's story of overcoming poverty, race, violence, and his mother's deepest secret. It's available at bookstores across the region and on Amazon. Route 210, also known as Indian Head Highway, could get a new name. That's if the Piscataway Conoy tribe has its way. The tribe says the name is derogatory to Native Americans. The Piscataway community also wants the town of Indian Head renamed. Community leaders have sent letters to state and to county officials calling for that name change. Still ahead on CTV News, we check in with our Pet of the Week. Stay tuned.
Dear parents, can we take a time out from our crazy lives for a second and think about how awesome play is? This thing we love to do just because it's fun? It's actually helping us grow in all kinds of ways. And the only trick is to mix up the ways we play, because different kinds of play gives us different kinds of skills. Help us mix up the ways we play. Okay, time in.
Thanks for staying with us. A Maryland court reverses a decision by the Public Service Commission which increased rates for Washington Gas customers. The Office of the People's Counsel brought the case to court, saying that the utility charged customers $8.6 million more than promised after its 2018 merger with AltaGas. The ruling also says the commission failed to properly review costs for various projects, including replacing pipes. The OPC presented evidence showing systemic problems with 14 Washington Gas projects. The city of Laurel mourns the loss of a former council president. H. Edward Ricks has passed away. He served on the city council from 1980 until 1988 and had a second stint from 2011 until 2019. Mayor Craig Moe says he was a great public servant who played a critical role in preserving the historic Laurel train station. The first American to receive a heart transplant from a pig has now died. According to officials, 57-year-old David Bennett died yesterday at the University of Maryland Medical Center. The hospital says that Bennett, who had terminal heart disease, began to deteriorate several days before his passing. His death comes 2 months after getting the experimental transplant surgery back in January. The countdown is on to complete your tax returns for 2021. You have just a little over a month to file. This time of year can be pretty stressful, especially for students. However, IRS spokesperson David Tucker says there are 2 tax credits you might be eligible for if you're still in school. They're the American Opportunity Tax Credit and the Lifetime Learning Credit. Tucker says there are restrictions to keep in mind.
There are restrictions in terms of, like, you can't be, as a student, you can't be a dependent on your parents' tax return in order to claim those. And so on our website, that's probably the best source to find out more information, and just put in AOTC, which is the acronym for the American Tax Credit, American Opportunity Tax Credit, or LLC, which is the Lifetime Learning Credit.
And for more information, you can visit the website on your screen. Tucker will discuss ways to avoid tax scams tomorrow. A Maryland gubernatorial candidate launches the first broadcast TV ads of the campaign season. Democrat Wes Moore put out 2 TV ad campaigns today. The ads focus on his background and his plan to improve education in the state. Moore was recently endorsed by Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks. And if you love kitties, you are in luck today. 2 lovely black cats are seeking forever homes. Take a look at Boo and Baby. They're 11-year-old domestic short hairs. Rescue coordinator Megan Staub says they both came in as owner surrenders. She says they'd be perfect in a peaceful household.
They are very easy to get along with. I would recommend a home that is kind of calmer, quiet, older children, as they don't like to be handled as much, but they are definitely very social butterflies.
And to bring Boo and Baby home with you, you can visit 24petconnect.com. Turning now to your weather forecast. Tonight, mostly cloudy with lows around 33 degrees. Thursday, partly sunny, highs near 52. Friday, mostly sunny and warmer, highs around 60. And Saturday, a mix of rain and snow. We said snow, that's right, highs in the 50s. And now for your community calendar. Civic leaders in Bowie are hosting an anti-hate rally this weekend. The Bowie United for Peace rally will take place Sunday at 4 p.m. at Allen Pond Park. Leaders from the Interfaith Coalition of Bowie State University, along with others, are gathering to stand up against hate incidents. Again, the event begins at 4 p.m. And that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Patricia Vallone. Have a great evening.